welcome to a special nighttime episode of me talking to you. No one expected me to do it at 7 p.m. So nobody's here. I've taken a huge risk. I've risked it all and I've lost. That's okay. Talia's here. She's listening. Talia, good to see that I have not alienated you with my bizarre and extremely conservative rhetoric, which has driven my sister away. It's going to be a very cold Thanksgiving this year. Hello, Texas time. I have not seen you in a while. It's always good that you're here. I bet you're watching normally at other times when I'm not live. Felony Melanie, I would say it's good to see you, but you're just legally required to be here. You're just fulfilling some kind of contract. Texas time, thanks for giving a thumbs up. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what that means, except for like doing this, which I mean, I always appreciate. Leave a comment. That really helps drive the algo, as they say. Don't apologize. I have this. I realized today I have this way of dealing with people that makes them apologetic to me. Like I was talking to someone on the phone today, and they just randomly started apologizing to me. I'm like, don't apologize. You know, but I answer the phone for a living. You know, it's fine. Talia says, I understand we all have our own thoughts. And Salamander's here. Well, I appreciate that, Talia. Like my sister, texted me the other day and she was kind of poking the bear a little bit and I didn't answer her. It seems like she's very intent on changing my mind. I know I can't change her, so I normally don't bother. But she'll poke at me and poke at me and poke at me. And finally, I give responses and she doesn't like these responses. And it's just like, well, why are you asking for what I think if you don't like what I think? So I'm just happy that you're here and still not mad at me. I will take these little victories. But it's good to see you, Texas time. It's been a little bit. I was worried about you. Salamander, always good to see you as well. Last Monday, I had so many memes that I had to cull some of the memes. Because you can only have like 100 assets loaded up, and if you've got intros and all this other stuff that I use all the time, you really can't use all of them. So I don't want you to feel like this is some kind of leftover show or something. It's all the memes I meant to show you and didn't have time. And I've found some new memes for today. In fact, I found some new memes on the way home that I didn't even get loaded up. So I won't keep you waiting though. We're on a tight clock tonight. COMM Center's new tonight. COMM Center, Drew and I are going to be talking about Ellen Greenberg. So Texas time and Talia and some other people who might be newer to the show, what you've got to understand is that there's a cluster of podcasts that kind of came from a wellspring of a singular source. And sometimes those things, they didn't all originate in the same place, but they had parallels. Like at certain times in the past, various podcasters have teamed up. There's a podcast called Andrea Up Late, or that's her name. And the podcast is called Night Shift or something. And it's this lady named Andrea, and she does a podcast with her husband about true crime. Well, when she and I used to work together at a place called Failure to Stop, I did shows with her occasionally. It was fun. And she did an episode this past week, not as in 2 days ago, but the week before that, about Ellen Greenberg. And it was a bizarre case. It started with a 911 call. It's pretty much our bailiwick around here. We had talked about the case before last year, maybe even the year before that. It might have been 2023 when we did that episode. I think it's 2023. I think it's been well over a year since we've done that, going on 2 years, if not already 2 years. But we'll be talking about that case. Some people say she committed suicide. Other people hold that it was a homicide, like the police, and the state medical examiners. There's a lot of stuff about it that's confusing. And for the armchair detective, for the true crime community, for all those people out there who are not cops at all and have never solved an actual crime, they think they got it whipped and they think the police are chumps. Well, enter one Drew Breezy, who has, I don't know if he's ever solved a murder. I mean, even I've solved one, but he did criminal investigations for a long time. He was a lieutenant detective, kind of a big deal, and not in a rinky-dink department either. We're talking Florida, okay? We're talking boats, we're talking hose, but we're also talking, pastels. He was doing this back in the 80s and 90s. If you think he didn't have a starter jacket with the sleeves pulled up and the collar popped and his badge right there, I mean, that was him. And he was, there was an episode where like this boat was taken off and it's crime and it was full of gold bullion and coke. And they're driving away. Mendoza's getting away, and Drew Breezy's out there on the dock. And he's like, well, if once they get out into the bay, a certain number of miles are no longer in my jurisdiction. So there's this tether or whatever. So he carabines himself to the tether. And anyway, he ends up like parasailing for a little bit. And then when they realize that he's hooked onto the boat and he's got the parasail, he told me this whole story. They start shooting at him. Well, he's got a grenade. So he attaches a grenade with the carabiner onto the line. So it delivers the grenade, falls down the zip line, lands in the boat, blows Mendoza into a pink mist. And then he releases the carabiner free, and he actually landed on the beach where a young lady was waiting with a pina colada, and they toasted to the death of Mendoza and the hilarious administration of justice. That's the kind of cop that Drew is. Okay. Be right back. Mendoza. Anyway, so yeah, no, Texas time. For some reason, my microphone just it spontaneously explodes sometimes. Drew got it secondhand from a sex podcast, if you could believe that. That is actually absolutely true. It's all loaded up with sex sounds, which I won't play for you because I respect you as an audience. But no, that was a true story of a jewel thing or something. Drew told me this story. Anyway, he blew up Mendoza. That's kind of copy. So we got a real cop who blows up real Mendozas on speedboats in Tampa Bay. Cop armed with a grenade. So we're going to bring that all to bear on this case tonight. So what you need to prepare yourself for is this. So the idea that Ellen died by homicide is compelling. The idea that her betrothed got away with it is compelling. The idea that the cops are stupid chumps is somewhat compelling. The idea that everybody got it wrong is compelling. The idea that there's but also equally compelling is this idea that this woman could viciously stab herself to death with like no regard for pain or blood loss, and that it seemingly came out of nowhere. Prepare yourselves for a massive letdown. I mean, it's a good episode. It's one of the best we've done in a while. I mean, especially if you're getting kind of sick of the Don Adelson type stuff. Like if you like more straight true crime, if you like a mystery, but it's like, as fun as Mulder was, Scully kind of always was a damper on things. Like this is not demonic fetal harvest. This is a wolf. So he's kind of got whereas somebody like Andrea Uplate's going to entertain the idea of zebras, Drew's going to bring it back down to earth with horses, and we're going to talk about some stuff with the ABC documentary. So that's going to be fun. Andrea referenced the ABC documentary, but she did not play it. We are going to play it. Now, this is not to one-up her. She is a dear friend, but we are going to one-up her here. So I'm just kidding. So that's what we have on tap for tonight. It's going to be pretty much fun. And also, I was talking to Jenny before the show. She was like, I don't know why you like Dr. Pepper. And I said, well, actually, I'm kind of more of a Mr. Pibb fan. She says, well, they're the same. So Dr. Pepper is a proprietary blend of 23 unique ingredients. Okay, one of which is probably sugar. But so Dr. Pepper is kind of its own thing, and it has its own origin. The reason why people think it's the same as Mr. Pibb is because they're kind of in the same market class, kind of like how like a Dodge Charger and a Ford Taurus are in the same class. It's like you choose, if you want that type of four-door sedan with similar trim and similar engine specifications, and you're looking for that, you're going to choose between a Ford Taurus or a Chevy, Impala or whatever, Malibu, so they're in the same market segment. People think if you don't get one, you get the other. Well, Mr. Pibb, or now it's called Pibb Extra, is a spicy cherry soda. And if you taste Mr. Pibb, it tastes like a spicy cherry soda. It doesn't taste like a proprietary unknown blend of 23 ingredients. Dr. Pepper is the taste of Dr. Pepper. It doesn't taste like anything else. It tastes like it's the taste of Dr. Pepper. Pibb Extra is a spicy cherry soda, and although I like having both in my life, and that's why I don't have to choose because they're different, if I'm in the same market segment and I'm sitting down to have lunch, and I have the option of both, I'm going to go with Mr. Pibb. I didn't used to feel that way, but I used to be childish. Let's address the chats before I get to those precious memes. Remembering, of course, that I am on a clock tonight. Normally, I can just do the show and go however long, but it's very, very, very important that everyone go over, to the COMM Center at the termination of this broadcast and watch the COMM Center, which you can find by going to YouTube, the COMM Center. Texas Time says she's neglected her duties and she feels sad. Don't do that. I'm just some fucking guy. Don't worry about me. I'm all right. Although I worry about you. Anthony, it's good to see you here. Homicide, Felony says she's not going to be. Guess what, guys? So I was with you when I watched the documentary, when it all started out. I was on your side. I thought, like, man, this is a suicide. And then I thought about some stuff pursuant to the documentary, but also in my own life and just listening to Drew. You're going to hate it, but he's going to change your mind. You're going to hate having your mind change because you want to believe that it's a homicide. And don't you realize that going into that, you're biased? If you really are an armchair investigator, if you're really a true crime, community cop, if you go into it, totally biased by everything that you've heard from other people that are biased, then you're not approaching it with the mindset. As David Crusoe says, the story tells its own story, or the evidence tells its own story. Anyway, so Drew's here. It's nice having him here. Never shoot the parachutist, as he says. Wait, I just got back. My first comment was 2 hours before the show. Yes. Class. All right. Wait. Instead of zebras or horses, couldn't it be unicorns? Yeah, if you're morbid, if you're that podcast. Anyway, Dr. Pepper stands on its own. Mr. Pibb is nothing without Mrs. Pibb. Again, this is the guy that would never give regular Pac-Man a shot after Miss Pac-Man came out. It's 80s second wave feminism. No eye for classics. Don't tell us you've never been poor without telling us you've never been poor, Joni. Never had a Mr. Pibb? Holy crow, we got to get you that. Is that the correct dipping sauce? What is the correct dipping sauce from McDonald's? Well, I haven't eaten at McDonald's since they only had 2 dipping sauces. Well, ketchup, they had barbecue sauce, and honey for chicken nuggets. So that was all they had the last time I was there. But I appreciate that you're entering a realm of discussion. Let's see if I have that meme loaded up, actually. I had one loaded up about, like, what was the best candy. This in preparation for Halloween, but I don't see it, so we'll have to just do it on Monday. Let's go to the first meme. Guys, baseball's a real sport. It's been around since the Civil War. And baseball is so real that if you die in baseball, you actually die in real life. I don't know if you're aware of that. Football is the same too. If you die playing football, you die in real life. Go up to the gas station. Welcome to Shell. Do you condemn Hamas? It's amazing how everybody forces you to choose a side here. Can't do anything can't get gas unless you properly condemn Hamas. This one really spoke to me. You could tell why it's in my algorithm. There's something wrong with me would imply there's something right with other people, which I do not believe. One of my coworkers who's been doing the job for like 23 years was talking about, leaving and going to the city water department or whatever. And my boss was kind of commiserating with him, saying, how much this job takes out of you and how nobody understands it. And it's not like other jobs where you have elbow room for failure. And my boss likes to like go to like mattress stores, and like when they let him down, he's just like, if I did my job as well as you do your job, someone would die. Glad that he's out there saying those things, by the way. But he's just like, this coworker who's, not my buddy, just to be clear. I don't hate him or anything, but we're not buddies. He trained me. But he said, I can't think of another job that warps you so much. In other words, he's talking about how much he's changed versus the person he was when he started back in the aughts and the person he is now. He said, I can't think of a job that makes you hate people so much. And he doesn't have the worldwide perspective. I don't know how much he worked in retail. Retail definitely makes you hate people. Prison makes you hate people. I've got 2 of those. There's other jobs that make you hate people. I'm imagining that being a nurse makes you hate people. I don't know. But our job is definitely one that wrings all the empathy out of you. I'm sure there's people here who can also understand that. When you have a really big sandwich to make, look at her. She's using a thing. She's using a crane to lift that bologna up or whatever. Very cool. Good for her. Gen 1ers who still play Pokemon today. Old man used Pokeball. I feel very attacked by this. So what if a game that I played like in 7th or 8th grade is still fun? I'm not allowed to do that. And what if I still have a Game Boy? Is that a problem? Should I feel ashamed? Drew would make me feel shame. He likes it. He levels up whenever I'm feeling shame. Here's me while I'm on vacation after Halloween. You can't do stuff when it's cold and dark outside. I think it's probably fine to still do stuff. No, get your sweatpants on and hunker down. Eat carbs to stay warm. I'm not a bear. Carbs and sweatpants now. My microphone just popped again. I might have to get a new one. We'll see. We'll see if I get the notification that I'm no longer being heard. No shame in a Game Boy. I still have mine, Anthony says. Thank you, Anthony, for backing me up. If you need someone to talk, I am here. Regular problems, $100. Sad story, $200. If I have to cry with you, $500. My prices will be a little steeper than that because I am a very good listener. I actually have good advice. All my stories are sadder than yours, so I'm going to have to do a real acting job to pretend that like I'm actually moved by any terrible thing that's happened to you. But also, I mean, I get to listen to bad and sad stuff for a living, and the going rate, I have a certain hourly rate. And, I'm not going to get gypped out of you telling a quick story, I mean, Lord knows that never happens at work, but I'm going to get paid. So just remember that those are my rates. $500 a day plus expenses is really what my rate should be. I know I'm going to be alone forever because one time I went on a date with a guy who told me he was an optometrist for the Veterans Association. And I said, haven't they seen enough? Let me get this straight. They were in Fallujah and you're going to help them see even more. All right. This is something I wish I had known in college. I wish I had known to say this. And I was enough of a smartass in college to the point where like, did you ever get held after class in high school? I get held after class in college. Oof. No offense to Socrates and Plato and all of them, but I figured that I would have figured out that stuff too if I was like the 10th person to ever exist. Yeah. Rene Descartes, I think, therefore I am. I would have figured that out. Descartes' not smarter than me. Oh, here is the meme I was talking about. So this will get a little bit of chatter going in the chats. Hopefully, what's the best candy? We already know that Twix is a scam, so it's not letter G. We're not doing that. I like the cookies and cream Hershey's. I'm also a big fan of Reese's peanut butter cups. That's got to be like at least the most perfected candy. Kit Kats are fun. Snickers kind of make me feel like an adult. Sour Patch Kids are something I only really started eating recently whenever I am eating candy. Starbursts, I'm over. I'm over Starbursts. If I never eat a Starburst ever again, I'll be fine with it. M&Ms are classic, but you need to have M&Ms. You eat like a handful of them, you feel sick already. Milky Way, I'm not huge on. Airheads, I'm not huge on. Skittles, not huge on. Three Musketeers used to be my favorite when I was a kid. I used to go through these little phases. Preceding Three Musketeers in my many phases was the Crunch Bar. They are just not as good now that they don't sell them in foil wrappers. When I was, when I was back home a few weeks ago, I went to the grocery store of my youth and I bought the candy bar of my youth, that being a Crunch Bar. And it absolutely was not the same to not unwrap it from foil. I should have bought foil and wrapped it up. Why do anything halfway? I do like Butterfingers, Heath, and Twizzlers. Those are all good. Almond Joy, something I came to appreciate as an adult. If you do not like coconut, you have not grown up yet. Coconut is good. 100 Grand, also a favorite of mine from the 80s. Swedish Fish, I never got into. The name's weird. The flavor's weird. The texture's weird. Baby Ruth, got to be a top contender. Mike and Ike's, you have to wonder, why is it here? Why is it on this list? So let's take a look. Let's see what they say. You have to act sad. Actually, the funny thing is I won't have to act sad. I mean, I'm pretty sad. You know, I'm hanging on to this life by a greased rope. Contemplating the grave. Waking up every single night in the middle of the night. In my nightstand, my 9mm calling out to me in the voice of my father, calling me a coward. Do you have the guts? Do you have the guts, son, to put an end to your miserable self? I've barely got rid of my Super Nintendo a few years back. Why did you get rid of it? You guys doing? Don't do that. Why'd you get rid of it? Why are you using the past tense? I've got a Super Nintendo right over there. Also, like, I also have a Nintendo right here. The original NES. This bad boy works. All those games work. Snickers final answer, Silamander says. Snickers. It's a hard list, yeah. I would definitely say Snickers is not the correct answer. I is best, referring to Milky Way. Wow. That's like year 3 and Foxy still has the worst takes. Cannot count on her to make a correct decision. Baby Ruth, like I said, a top contender. I love Almond Joys, peppermint patties. Oh, Joni, you're right. York's not on this list. Junior Mints are not on this list. York got to be on this list. I always get Yorks. Why didn't I notice that? I should have noticed right away. The Puff Protein coconut bars are amazing. The Puff Protein? I don't even know what those are. No. Oh my God. Oh my God. What? What are you reacting to? I was getting rid of shit, John. You use my name like a swear word. Has that ever occurred to you? It's brutal. My most stressful time since I moved back to Iowa, I was downing Lifesaver gummies at a disturbing rate. You ever heard of the Twinkie defense? When you're going insane, your brain craves sugar. I learned to shoot with Duck Hunt. Yes, hell yes. I got Duck Hunt. I got the gun, and I got the game. But unfortunately, Joni, as you well know, it does not work on modern TVs. I do have a cathode ray tube television set in the other room, but I don't normally ever get it out. But I also have Duck Hunt. I don't think they should let you become a cop unless you've played Duck Hunt. Peanut butter M&Ms. Yeah, I remember when they invented them. They say they invented them in the 70s, but I remember when they came out in the 90s. My lifetime go-to is Sugar Under Stress. It's actually the same for dispatchers. Joni, how good am I? What other podcast could you be watching right now where you mention Duck Hunt and it appears on screen? Am I the best? Possibly. All right, guys. Thanks for letting me know what the best candy is. I'm gonna if I have to rule. And man, we didn't talk about Reese's Pieces. For some reason, Reese's Pieces did not get enough talk here. If this were my child's Halloween basket, I'm gonna snag Almond Joys. I'm gonna snag the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, and then probably Baby Ruth's. But you know what? In all honesty, I love about half or more of these. I hate the phrase, I have a sweet tooth. I have a sweet tooth. Dude, everyone fucking loves sugar. Everyone's fucking addicted to sugar. So you don't have a sweet tooth. You just have a tooth. And don't try to make like your love of sweets into a personality trait, for the love of goodness sakes. But yeah, I definitely like candy. I just sent this month's rent in. Well, I haven't received anything. April Fools. Here's a photo I took of you sleeping this morning. I could kill you at any time. Landlord is probably mom or dad. Anybody else relate to this? I am sick. Pointing a gun at my dad through my window at 2 a.m. as he pleads, come on, Jake. Please let your old pa in. I'm tired. And having to reply, you're not my dad. He's asleep in the other room. I can hear him snoring. And then watching his expression go sour as he turns back towards the woods. Anybody else sick of that? I am sick of this skinwalker shit. When are we going to finally, I get that our hands are full with the immigration situation in this country, but we have got to start doing something about paranormal phenomena. I know we closed the X-Files in 2018 or whatever, but we got to reopen that shit. Actually, I was watching Unsolved Mysteries, the episode about the skinwalker, no less, and they talked about these two cops on the Navajo Indian Reservation in New Mexico, and all they do is follow up on paranormal phenomena reports. I think that they are feds. I think they work for Bureau of Indian Affairs or the Department of the Interior or something, and they're former like law enforcement officers, so like they're certified or whatever. But the government out there, the tribal council or whoever the governing body is, they kept getting reports of orbs and skinwalkers, etc. And they were complaining that they would make all these, they would make these reports and no one would ever follow up on them. Like, one can relate, when I get calls about mysterious drones flying over the county, I could send a cop to go look at them, write a report. Yes, I saw these drones. They were real, but what am I supposed to do? Like, tell them to shoot them down and cause an international incident, intergalactic incident? Who knows? So the Navajo tribe put together a little X-Files unit, and they followed up with stuff, and they have crime scene photos of big scratches on doors that are clearly, not made by natural predators there. And watch that episode of Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix. I encourage you to do it. Always good to bring that show back, especially this time of year. Quitting vaping is so fucking easy. Give it up, guys. Not only are the shelves no longer being stocked, we recognize it's bad for you, but as long as you get your hands on a cigarette and a real beer, you're good to go. I do not normally drink Miller Lite, but I am cooking a bowl of chili, and some of the beer went into the chili. Mulder, not everything is a labyrinth of dark conspiracy. Eating his classic sunflower seeds, even in the autopsy bay, no less. Got to bring that show back, but show it problems. There's a video on YouTube of a 5-hour breakdown about how the mythology of the X-Files makes sense. I watched it over like 4 days, and I commented on it 100 times about how the guy was full of shit. I'm just like, oh yeah, there was no colonization. Yeah, that had nothing to do with the fact that nothing happened in real life in 2012, and it's all retcon, so that it's all about anyway, I took it to pieces. Didn't answer me a single time, that coward. Coward! Answer my nitpicking. This is something funny that happened to me. I actually gave this meme to ChatGPT. Poor fellow here says, but why is the scar on the left if my appendix is on the right? You're absolutely right. Let me try that one more time. I go round and around and around with ChatGPT. I've actually gotten pretty sarcastic with it. Like the thumbnail for today's show, I had ChatGPT manufacture and he was working on a project for me before that, and it just kept turning out shit every single time. And then I would just type back to it, like, tell me, do you think you did a good job? And he's just like, no, to be honest, I don't, this one's pretty absurd. This one didn't work. I could see what I got wrong here. I'm like, well, if you were aware of that, then why did you do it? So it's constantly, and then I called it out for this, and it was telling me, it's like, ha, shots fired. I get how ChatGPT really seems to be about offering positive reinforcement and uh, positive feedback rather than about being correct. And that is a real problem with me. And so he's like, would you like me to kind of redeem myself and tell you like everything that I know about removing an appendix? And I'm like, sure, redeem yourself. So it walks me through the whole process, and then I say, should I trust you to perform an appendectomy on me? And he goes, probably not. I tend to get things wrong, and knowing that you could die on the table if I get it wrong, if you ever see me coming towards you with a scalpel, you should probably run. And then I said to ChatGPT, I said, I'm going to take out your appendix. And it goes, ha, 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 I'm just ones and zeros. I don't have an appendix. Would you like me to discuss other medical procedures with you? And I said, lie down. It's just like, ha, ha, nervous laughter. I get what you're going for, but you can't perform surgery on me. I'm just open AI. It's funny though. I like your dark sense of humor. Would you like me to help you turn this anecdote into an article worthy of publishing? And then I said, quiet, you're making me nervous. And it's like, it shows me an emoji of like clenched teeth, like nervous sweating. Oh, how many millions of gallons of water did I waste on that? Just curious for my AI schlop interaction. This, I believe, is also from the X-Files. I believe it's from a season 8 episode called Invocation, which is actually very good. But me in the backyard listening to my parents talk shit about me in the kitchen. You ever had an occasion as a child where you hear your parents just talk badly about you? I remember when I wasn't enrolled in school, and my parents were upset about something, and they were taking it out on me. They thought I was free childcare for their youngest daughter, and they thought I was free housekeeping for them because I was at home all day. Well, I was a neglected and abused child. I wasn't a servant, and I wasn't a babysitter. And they said that I showed no sense of responsibility towards my family. Well, you show no sense of responsibility towards me. I haven't been to school in 3 years. You're not taking care of me. I don't have clothes. I don't have enough clothes to clothe me for a week of school. If I was even in school, I wouldn't have enough clothes to have a different t-shirt on every single day. But it's fine. But being largely sedentary, being at home, and just being a growing boy and having an appetite and all that, I became quite portly. I was probably the most morbidly obese I ever was. And my mother, who was always very, very, very obese, and her face looked like a fucking bee's hive. She's a nasty woman. But I heard her talking to my dad about how Jonathan just sits around here all day, getting fatter and fatter every day and all this. And, I'm up in my room listening to this. I'm like, fuck you. You're fucking fat, Anyway, it's funny, the stuff that stays with you. Did you guys even want to hear a horrible story? Probably not, right? You guys like horrible stories? Childhood is when you idolize Pet Sounds, 1966 by the Beach Boys. And adulthood is when you realize that Kokomo is what really makes sense. Yeah, you finally grow up and realize that there are no rules. The system was made up, just keeps the same people in power. Kokomo, man. Here's a list of proposed amendments to the Constitution that did not pass. An attempt to abolish the United States Senate. Boy, that would have been good. By the way, ever since we went to direct election of senators, this country's really been in the shitter too. The forbidding of religious leaders from holding a governmental office or receiving federal funding. Yeah, separation of state doesn't work so that it restricts religion. It works so that it restricts the state, but whatever. An executive council of 3 to replace the office of the president. See, that's way back in 1878. You know why they did that in 1878? I mentioned this on my show the other night, on Monday night, the one that nobody fucking watched at all. It got like 20 views. It got none views from Monday night. The one about Ghislaine Maxwell is because of the president. After Lincoln, they became very, very grandiose of power. Lincoln first wielded executive power strong enough to keep the Union together, and then you had Andrew Johnson kind of being a dick, and then Grant also wielding strong executive authority. Anyway, by 1878, they're like, well, we're sick of this shit. We're supposed to have a kind of a weak executive, so we should have a council of 3 to do that. We need to have the 3 branches of government and have one of those branches also be 3. Renaming the nation, this was in 1893, to the United States of the Earth. Sounds like a bunch of fucking hippies wanted to be the United States of the Earth. America, not big enough for you? We're the United States of the whole Earth. And then in 1893, they wanted to abolish the United States Army and Navy. That would be bad. Those guys were just starting to play football at that point. You used to have an idea that you didn't have a standing Army and Navy. You're not going to sit there and pay for them to not be fighting a war. That's crazy. Anyway, 1894, reversing directions, acknowledging that the Constitution, having the Constitution acknowledge and recognize that God, Jesus Christ, is the supreme arbiter of human affairs. Even if that was in there, I'm not sure really what that would do. It's kind of like feel-good legislation. It's designed to appeal to people. It's also designed to make anybody who votes against it look like a atheistic piece of crap, and that really played well back in those days. 1912, making marriage between races illegal. Oof. They saw what was coming and they tried to get out in front of it. 1914, finding divorce to be illegal. You get married, you're married, man. It's in the Constitution. Here's the thing. You can't have a constitutional amendment that bans marriage between the races, and you can't have a constitutional amendment that finds divorce to be illegal. Do you know why? Constitutional amendments must be constructed so that they restrain the government. That's the purpose of the Constitution, is to keep government small, not to withhold the rights of human beings. If you wanted to make divorce illegal, and if you wanted to restrict the races from intermarrying, that goes to 10th Amendment, not strictly delegated to federal authority, so a state could pass that law. And you know what? I wouldn't care. If a state like Alabama wanted to make it illegal for black people and white people to marry each other, you know what I would do? Not go to Alabama. Why the hell can't they do what they want to do? That's part of their moral fiber. That's part of their culture. They agree to it enough to have it pass as a state law. That's what they want then. I don't care. That's the beauty of federalism, is that you can have a fucking state like California or Massachusetts or Alabama do whatever the hell they want. This is my only hope at getting multiple wives, everyone. All acts of war should be put into a national vote. And anyone who votes yes for war must register as a volunteer for services in the United States Army. So if you believe in war, put your money where your mouth is and sign up. That was in 1916. That was at a time when we were being very, very, very isolationist. It's funny how Calvin Coolidge ran on the platform of he kept us out of the war. Oh, but in his second term, he would get us right in. He just wanted to make sure that his personal power was not usurped. He could appeal to the masses, the populace, with the popular isolationist view, and then he could do whatever the fuck he wanted. Very bad president. Anyway, I'll kind of get through these. 1933, an attempt to limit personal wealth to $1 million. This is basically the monopoly times, Great Depression. We don't want to have anyone with more than $1 million. There's also a constitutional amendment here to put $500 on free parking in every Monopoly game. We all know that that is a house rule and that you can only enforce it in your own house. You cannot enforce it universally. In my house, we have $500 on free parking. Absolutely. That's just me, though. You don't have to do that. I already did the one with the little boy. Parents today, my kid won't get off his iPad. Me when I was a kid, fucking smoking behind the high school. Joni, this was you, absolutely. You were smoking behind the high school, and I bet somebody came by and caught you, and you threw your cigarette down, and it set a tree on fire. It just seems like a very Joni story. Not all men. You're right. The Mothman would never. There he is near the Silver Bridge. Silver Bridge near the Great River, Ohio. He's out there mothing it up, prophesying. He's out there. Unsolved Mysteries also did a Mothman episode. A couple of them, actually. Pro tip, your cigarettes should go in the freezer so it freezes the cancer so you could smoke more. There's cancer in there, but if you freeze it, should be good to go. I wonder if they're good to smoke frozen. Conventional knowledge would say that you would have a very difficult time lighting them. However, science would say you can light them. You guys ever see You Got Mail? Meg Ryan and Ted Kaczynski. It was the best romantic comedy of the year. I believe it was 98. Very good movie. It was so good to see Ted finally get some love. Local fall festival sold out of apple cider donuts by the time we finished the corn maze. I did a corn maze and I couldn't find the secret prize thing. It was very sad. Apple cider donuts are amazing though. My girlfriend told me to eat in a different room because my creation is an abomination. I have a feeling the boys will appreciate it. Possibly. I'm wondering, aside from this being crunchy peanut butter, which is bored by way too many people in this audience, I wonder what you all think. I feel good about the peanut butter. I feel good about the banana. I feel good about the jelly. The only thing that's really throwing me is the hot dog bun. I just associate the hot dog bun so much with the taste of savory that it's throwing me off. I want a sweet roll, like a Hawaiian sweet roll would be about perfect. You could call it, a dessert PB&J. Let me know if you guys have thoughts on that in the chats. Remember to reference the hot dog thing specifically, or else I won't know what the hell you're talking about. How many of y'all burn a CD old? You all old enough to remember burning a CD, buying a package of blank CDs at the store, Target, getting the 25 pack of Maxell CDs, and then carefully curating a list. Because it's like once you burn it, it's not reusable, like cassette tape, you're committed. And then it's like you would listen to it and then you would get annoyed by one song that you thought was really great. And then you're throwing it away and you're going to reburn it. And it has, 90% of the same tracks. Because we didn't have Spotify. And then your computer has some kind of a problem while you're burning it. It takes 20 minutes. And it's like, all it can do is burn the CD and it's really loud. You can, this laser's in there burning away and some kind of error occurs. And then the CD's like partially burned. And then you're like, but it can't because it's not properly finalized, whatever the fuck that means. It's not finalized. So it can never be used. You put it in there. And it's just like a failure to read drive D. It doesn't mean anything. Oh, fuck this. You throw it away. What a weird time of avarice and waste. I'm record songs played on the radio onto a cassette tape and a boombox old. Well, there goes my microphone again. Hopefully that's still working. It's giving me little green indicators that it's working. I would wait for my favorite songs to come on the radio and I would record them. Fine Again by Seether is playing. Let's record that. This is well into 2002 that I was doing that. Great idea here. Shazam, but for strange noises in your house at night. It's a ghost, settling foundation, creaking floorboards, just the wind, malevolent class 4, free-floating, vaporous torso apparition, poltergeist, whatever. Vampire, whatever it is you got going on. The only DB Cooper theories I accept, number 1, he died because he was a fucking idiot who jumped out of a fucking airplane during a rainstorm in the middle of the night. Another theory is that it's some guy named Tommy Wiseau. I haven't heard that theory. Here's some additional theories. There's no proof he hit the ground, so he could still fall on us at any time. Perhaps he's still blowing around. Yeah, I mean, imagine his body hit a jet stream, and it's just shooting around the earth, and it's just waiting for the jet stream to adjust. His body finally falls out of the sky. Maybe he went up. That's another theory. You guys got any good DB Cooper theories? Just as a reminder, nothing has ever been invented within the green area of this continent. Absolutely nothing ever, not even writing. 0. They've invented nothing. Surprise to no one. Maybe I'll dress up as a deer for Halloween so someone will hit me with a car. Actually, what's funny is that one time I was at the Gray Ghost Run in the Halloween capital of America in Anoka, Minnesota. This is all true. I mean, check it out to the extent that you wish. But it's called the Gray Ghost Run. It's believe it's a 1 or 5K run, a charity run that benefits the Gray Ghost Run. Like they literally just take all the entry fees and then they pocket it. They keep it all for themselves. It's the most bizarre charity that funds itself and nothing else. It's not like proceeds go to children or the lonely or the homeless or the homely. Nothing, none of those things. It just goes to the Gray Ghost Run. The registration fees go to defraying the cost of registration. Anyway, so everyone dresses up in their Halloween costumes when they go to the Gray Ghost Run. Well, a couple years ago, all of a sudden, from out of the forest sprang a large deer, possibly a buck. It could have been doe, a deer, a female deer, but jumped out and scared, and it was very terrified, of course, as one would be as a deer. First of all, you're in the daylight, you're surrounded by people, some of which are zombies, vampires, princesses, various liberal-looking people. I mean, this is Minnesota. So half of those people didn't even put on a Halloween costume. They just went outside of their houses, and, you know, they look monstrous. So the deer was upset. It ran through the crowd, disrupting the crowd. The crowd disrupted the deers. It was a mess. The police couldn't catch up with it because there's a huge throng of people. Lots of streets are closed down, and the deer's running through, and it's scaring everybody. It's knocking over things, concession stands, T-shirt stands, all this. And to this day, I still have a theory about that. It wasn't a deer. It was two guys in a deer suit. Call me a conspiracy theorist if you must. That is my theory. If you lay on your arm until it goes numb and then you use it to wipe away your tears, it feels like someone actually cares about you. I don't have time for that. Average Ernest Hemingway story. To prove his masculinity, Hemingway sailed into a hurricane, only to return haunted by a tragic love affair and God's indifference to his own despair. Average F. Scott Fitzgerald story. After his wife called him gay, Fitzgerald slipped on a banana peel. Getting a little highbrow, a little literary here. Someone was saying that Hemingway was often mocking masculinity because he would have all these characters that embraced what it meant to be a manly man. They were left hollowed out by it. They weren't left hollowed out by masculinity. They were left hollowed out by the world. Of course, there has to be some sort of weird anti-masculine leftist interpretation. He also made this comment Hemingway did about being anti-fascist. That were his political views. And everyone's like, oh, Hemingway's Antifa. First of all, Hemingway came up in an era of Mussolini, of Hitler, of Stalin. He knew fascism and he knew what it was. And it wasn't a democratically elected president enforcing voted upon federal law that existed since the time of Ernest Hemingway. It's amazing. You know, you have all these freaks out there who, by the way, are in Portland right now posting pictures of journalists and conservative podcasters and various other people as a sort of hit list on the streets. You have these people who are trying to conscript from history a great and make them one of their own. It happens all the time. Homosexuals often said Lincoln was gay, never mind the fact that he was married to Mary Todd Lincoln, and they sired multiple children. But they like to kind of, like I said, conscript and co-opt people for their cause and say the great people of the past were their own. Like saying Ernest Hemingway was a member of Antifa. Give me a break. You would have thought that you dressing up in your little mask and going out of the streets and protesting all this shit and attacking police officers, you wouldn't have stood behind any of that. It's easy to say, you know why? Because your own grandfather wouldn't have. Well, maybe your grandfather would have. We're getting pretty far away from the 60s, but your great grandfather wouldn't have. He would have thought you're an entitled piece of shit that needs to get a job. He wouldn't have been impressed by you. And Ernest Hemingway wouldn't have been either. Anyway, about in Portland, where these Antifa people are posting pictures of all the conservative people as a hit list and kind of implying there's something in there that says like what the penalties are for various levels of assault so that you can kind of like pick out from a menu what level of assault you're going to do to this person. I know no one in Portland will hear me. My voice doesn't extend that far. There's nobody there in Portland. But I guess I would say to the people of Portland, if anyone ever hears me, to any good person in Portland and to all the good people in Portland, not just the conservatives, but every good person, go out there and post your own picture so that these fucking violent lawless, amoral idiots can see, number one, that we're not afraid of them, but also number two, that the good people far outweigh them, and that we are not afraid of them. We're not afraid of announcing who we are, and our numbers are much higher. I can't imagine that there's any. How can any good man or any good conservative person walk past a lamppost or something, and see pictures of conservative talking heads, people who are braver than me, strong enough to speak out about things in Portland and how fucked up they are? How can they walk past a lamppost where someone's picture is there and they're being singled out and selected for a hit, for assault? As long as that person's photo is up on the wall and you don't put your photo up there, you're kind of complicit in that morally. Are you going to let some of those pictures are of women. Me as a man, am I going to let a woman out there? Am I going to let her get assaulted? Well, you could say, just pull down the pictures. Well, they're going to keep posting them. That's why you just add more. It's so much easier to have a hit list of 10 people. Well, what if their hit list was all of a sudden 10,000 people? That's what the people of Portland need to do. But are there enough good people in Portland? I wonder. This is all a digression. You don't need to care about. Just a passing transient thought. Already did that one. Guys, it's not waterboarding if you're using eggnog. Just remember that. Use your eggnog. Got to wrap it up here because the show is about to start. Me on the inside, me on the outside, and that's it. Big smile. Everybody's happy. All right, everybody. There's still more memes, but in lieu of showing them, I'll show one more. This is my cat drinking out of a toilet. God damn it, Fox. Get out of there. Get out of there, Fox. What are you doing? I have a bowl for your water. Why do you... God damn it, Fox. Get out of there. Yes, you love Halloween in Anoka? Going to a Tornadoes game or Cyclones game or whoever they are. Hi, conspiracy theorist. What is going on here? Was this scheduled? I demand answers. Well, Michael Hendricks, the answer is make sure you watch COMM CENTER starting in 6 minutes. All is well here. You can watch this show again later if you want, but make sure you watch COMM CENTER first. We are about to start over there on that channel. Seems to be a horrible person. I don't know, Taliu, coming from you, that might be an endorsement since we don't agree on very much. It's also possible that he was a terrible person, but let me ask you this. Who among us is really all that great? There's two people, right? There's the one that you present to the world, and there's the one that you really are. And being a high-profile public figure, maybe the bad stuff that you do just comes to light more. But I don't think there's any such thing as a really great person. You can act great, and you can be kind to people, and you can be good, but you still got shit. Eggnogging. How did he learn to lift the toilet lid? I still blame Fox for this. Wouldn't miss a John show. Well, coached at Anoka High School. So you know all about it. You know all about that one roundabout downtown that literally has a jack-o'-lantern inlaid. It's right there by the water. It's right across the water from you. And they take it quite seriously over there. I've been to a haunted house, haunted farm pasture or something over there. They do take they take Halloween quite seriously, but I don't think that they should be allowed to be calling themselves the Halloween capital of America. That's just me. All right. I've tried very hard to improve myself. Well, good on you. All right, guys. That's the end of the show. Make sure you go over and watch COMM CENTER starting in a few minutes. Like I said, it's the Ellen Greenberg case. We are going to be discussing, did she commit suicide? It's a case from 2011. Recently was a ruling in it just this past week. It's making it trend in the news. Make sure you go over and watch that. Remember, if there's a pill that makes people calm down and be well-behaved, it needs to go into Popeye's chicken. And this one's for Drew. At least once a month, I randomly remember that Dr. Phil once invited the creator of Bum Fights video to his show to confront him about exploiting vulnerable people for financial gain, only for him to show up dressed as Dr. Phil and pointing out that he does the exact same thing. Absolutely, he does. He helps them for about half an hour, gets some ratings out of it, and then the show is over. God damn it, Fox! Get out of the toilet! What's wrong with you? Popeyes is made of people. All right, guys. That's the end of me. Thanks for watching the show tonight. I appreciate all you guys. Thanks for stopping by on a special Thursday night pre-show, after show, whatever you want to call it, go over and watch the COMM Center. I'll be in the chats over there. It's going to be a great episode. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.